Good morning, class. This is our science class of class 8 and chapter number 4, that is materials, metals and non-metals. In this chapter, we will be talking about the materials and their categories, how they are classified under metals and non-metals, how will we determine whether that particular material is a metal or a non-metal. Fine. So, for that, for going into the division of metals and non-metals, we have to first know about a simple and small topic, that is elements. Right. Now, the question is, what are elements? Elements are the substances which cannot be broken down into two or more simpler substances by chemical reaction is known as elements. For example, gold and oxygen. These substances cannot be broken down into smaller or simpler classifications. In other words, we can say they are pure substances. Fine. So, now the next thing that we want to know is that the classifications of elements. Elements are classified under two broad categories, that is metals and non-metals. Okay, so the broad classifications are metals and non-metals. So how will we determine that who is metal and who is non-metal? Right. So for determining this thing, we will be comparing the materials on their properties like physical properties and chemical properties. We will be learning about these properties and we will be comparing about these properties of metals and non-metals. So, for example, a small example, like I am comparing the physical properties of substances. So, I am using only two types of categories for comparison here. Like the first one is appearance, how they look, right? So, on the basis of appearance, I will be comparing that is that material shiny in nature or that is dark. Okay, and next one, physical property on which I will be comparing is like the hardness. The particular material is hard or soft. So, such type of categories will be used for the comparison of the metals and non-metals. So, in the next part, I am going to compare with the physical properties of metals and non-metals and their different bases. Okay, now moving towards the names of metals and non-metals. Examples of metals and non-metals are, like for example, metals. The gold, iron, aluminium, silver, all these copper, all these are metals you are seeing near around you. And non-metals like iron, graphite, all these things are non-metals. So, there is a great difference between metals and non-metals. So, finding them, how will I recognize which one is metal and which one is non-metal? I will be doing the comparison between their physical properties of metals and non-metals. I will be comparing all these things on these properties. Like the first one, the malleability. Malleability is the property, that is a physical property of these substances. So, malleability is the property of metals. Malleability is the property of metals by which they can be beaten with a hammer. Okay, if I am beating the metal with a hammer, it will not break, but instead of breaking, it will be converted into thin sheets. That property is known as malleability. And this is only and only the property of metals. So I can say that metals are having the property of malleability. That means they are malleable. So I can beat them and convert them into thin sheets without breaking them. Non-metals are having no property of malleability. They are brittle. Instead of malleability, it is observed that non-metals are brittle. When they will be beaten with the hammer, they will be broken into small pieces. Fine. Yes. You have seen that blacksmiths, they are beating the iron and converting them into different objects. Second property, that is physical property, is conductivity. Conductivity is determined under two conditions, whether it is the conductivity of heat, whether it is the conductivity of electricity. But here I will be talking about the conductivity of electricity. The metals are very good conductor of electricity. For this we can use different metals around us we can check it by using an activity. Fine. But now talking about the conductivity. Conductivity means when the particular substance is allowing electricity to pass through it, that substance is known as conductor. If it is conducting the electricity, that is known as conductor. For this, we will be choosing a small circuit as given in your book. That is known as electric tester, and when I will place some object between that tester, if that is conductor, the bulb will glow, and if that is the non-conductor or poor conductor, the bulb will not glow. So all the metals are good conductors of electricity. But most of the non-metals are poor conductor. But there is an exception. That means there are some non-metals which will conduct electricity, okay, like the graphite, which is used in your pencils for making the lid of your pencil. Graphite is a non-metal, that is a form of carbon that conducts electricity. So that is a good conductor. Being a non-metal, that is a good conductor of electricity. There is an example of, for non-metals like coal, sulfur, phosphorus, these do not conduct electricity, so they are poor conductors of electricity. Now moving toward the third point, that is ductility. Ductility is the property of metals by which property they can be drawn into wires. If I am applying a force on them, instead of breaking, they will be drawn into wires, they will convert into wires. So ductility is the property of metals. Gold is the most ductile metal, as well as silver is also very ductile in nature. Non-metals are not ductile. Carbon, sulfur are the examples of non-metals, and they are non-ductile. When stressed, they will break into pieces, they will not convert into wires. The next property is sonorousness. That means sonorous. Metals are sonorous. That means they make ringing sound when I will beat them with a hammer or with some other metal object or any other object. When I will beat them, they will produce a very ringing sound. Like you hear the bells of your schools, like the bells of the temple, like the bells of the church. Right? They are producing ringing sound. So this is the property of metals, that is sonorous. Okay? And non-metals are not sonorous. Next property, physical property about which we are going to talk is luster. Luster means shine. Metals are having a very good shiny surface. Most of the metals are having generally very good appearance That is, they are very shiny in their nature. Like you have seen the shiny appearance of gold, silver. Your mother is wearing the jewelry made up of gold and silver, and they are being used because they are very shiny in nature. That's why they are being used for their very good shiny appearance. Non-metals mostly are not lustrous. They have a dull appearance, but there is an exception for the case of luster for the non-metals. Graphite and iodine are the non-metals, but they are shiny in appearance. Yes. Now the last one is hardness. The last property, the last physical property on which we can compare metals and non-metals is hardness. Most of the metals are in solid form and very hard in their nature. That's why we are using these metals for making different things around us. But there is an exception for metals. There are few metals which are not hard. They are soft in nature. For example, sodium and potassium are the metals which are soft in nature. They can be even cut with a knife. Yes. Now, most of the non-metals are soft, but only some of the non-metals are hard. For example, like diamond. Diamond is the hardest material present on the earth. So, it is a non-metal and diamond is a form of carbon. So, for the conclusion, I can say that most of these properties are followed by the metals and including the exceptions. Now I will be comparing the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Yes, now discussing about the second part, that is chemical properties of metals and non-metals. We have already discussed the physical properties. Now in this part we are going to discuss about the first point is reaction with oxygen. What happens when a metal is reacting with oxygen? Okay, now as we see, this is the basic structure for the reaction of metal with oxygen. So, here we are seeing metal is reacting with oxygen and giving metal oxide, which is basic in nature. You have already learned about the acids and bases, right? Already in bridge course also. So, the metal oxide which is being formed, which is being produced, is basic in nature. That means it is a kind of base. For example, I am taking an example. Magnesium, that means Mg, is reacting with, magnesium is a metal that is reacting with oxygen, and after reacting it is forming magnesium oxide. And then what I have to do for checking when it is converted into magnesium oxide, then for checking this I have to mix this with water. Then only I will be able to check that it is acid or base. So I am going to mix this magnesium oxide with water. I am taking this magnesium oxide plus water. Right. Now I am taking magnesium oxide plus water. Now after mixing, it is making magnesium hydroxide. This magnesium hydroxide is basic in nature. When I will test this magnesium hydroxide with red litmus paper, the red litmus paper will be converted into blue color. That means, that signifies, that clears that this is basic in nature. Another example, the daily common example, as activity is also given. What you have to take? You have to take rust from a rusted iron. You have to collect the rust particles from a rusted iron. Then we have to bring that and mix that properly and shake that with water. Right. Then I am going to see, I am mixing this this rust is formed like this. You know, rust is formed by mixture of iron, oxygen and water. So when I am checking this, that means when they react they form iron oxide, right? And that rust is that iron oxide. This rust is this iron oxide, right? This is not rust. These things are combining to form this rust. Okay, I am writing this one here. Instead of this, I am writing here rust. So this iron oxide is rust. Fe2O3, and when I will check the solution which I have made by mixing the rust and water with pH paper, I will see that red litmus paper is being converted into blue. Sorry, yes, red litmus paper is being converted into blue. That means the iron oxide is also basic in nature. This was our first point. After that, the second point is reaction. I will be telling you about the reaction of non-metals with oxygen. The second part is reaction of non-metal with oxygen. So what we see, the non-metal will react with oxygen, it is going to form non-metal oxide which is acidic, right? For the example, we are going to take the example from the activity 4.4 from your NCERT book. Here, I am reacting the sulfur with oxygen. I am taking the sulfur in an powder form and I am heating the sulfur powder or taking it on a deflagrating spoon, and after burning the sulfur, I will be quickly putting this deflagrating spoon into the gas jar. Here the sulfur will combine with oxygen and it will burn. And after the burning, the sulfur will be combined with oxygen and it will be giving sulfur dioxide. And after that, I will be adding some water in that air jar, in that gas jar, so that the sulfur dioxide get mixed with water. The sulfur dioxide is going to be mixed with water, and this will be converting into sulfurous acid, which is an acid. And now I will be testing this with a blue litmus paper, and I will see that blue litmus paper is turning into red. That means the resultant is non-metals react with oxygen and they give an acidic substance. Second chemical property of metals and non-metals is reaction with water. Now we will be learning about what happens when a metal is going to react with water. Metal is reacting with water and it is giving metal hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. For example, which is your activity also in your book, activity 4.5, here we are seeing the sodium, which is a very reactive metal, which reacts even in air as well as with water very rapidly, very vigorously. Here, so sodium is reacting with water and it is going to form sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. And the sodium hydroxide or the metal hydroxide is basically general in nature. We can test it with the help of litmus paper. Non-metals generally do not react with water. But as you know, in chemistry there are exceptions. There is an exception for a non-metal, which is a phosphorus, which is very reactive non-metal. It catches fire if we keep this in open air. So for keeping this, we keep this in the container of water. Third chemical property is reaction with acids. Metals. When metals react with acid, they are going to form metal salt plus hydrogen gas. For that we will be seeing the reactions which are shown in our activity 4.6. There we have taken few metals and non-metals, and we are observing the reactions with hydrochloric acid and the sulfuric acids in the dilute form. There we will be learning the things what is happening actually. So, and non-metals, they generally do not react with acids. So let's talk about this metal plus acid, metal salt is being formed and the hydrogen gas is being released. Here we will be learning about the hydrogen test. Test for hydrogen gas. Test for hydrogen gas, that is H2 gas, that is pop sound test. Pop sound test. What happens in this, when the metal is reacting with the acid and the hydrogen gas is being evolved. For this, let us take an example. If in this beaker, the acid is there, it is filled with acid and I am adding some metal, then what will happen? The reaction will start and the salt will be formed in this beaker and the hydrogen gas will be evolved. So, how will I check this? That this particular gas is hydrogen gas. For this, I will be doing this pop sound test. I have to take a burning matchstick and I have to take that and bring that to the mouth of this beaker. If it is hydrogen gas, the matchstick will burn with a pop sound. Then it confirms that this gas which is being released is the hydrogen gas. Yes, continuing with the fourth part, reaction with bases. Here, the first part is for the metals. What will happen when metals are going to react with bases? All metals do not react with bases. Some react to give salt and hydrogen gas. This is the main thing which is going to happen in this case. This is the basic reaction. Base plus metal is going to give salt plus hydrogen gas, which is explained in activity 4.7. Right? And the second part is about non-metals. Non-metals, the reaction of non-metals with the bases are quite complex. We will be discussing about these things in higher classes. But some react to give salt, but no hydrogen gas is released. The reaction of non-metals and bases. The next topic is displacement reaction in this chapter. In this topic, we will be learning about the chemical reaction type. This is a type of chemical reaction, that is displacement reaction. In this type of chemical reaction, when a more reactive metal displaces a less reactive metal from its salt solution is called displacement reaction. Here, A is more reactive and B is less reactive. Here, after reaction, we are seeing that A is replacing B. A is going and taking the place of B and replacing this B, and it is making bond with C. Right? So, this is the basic reaction of displacement reaction. For this, there is an activity given in your book, that is activity 4.8, in which we will be seeing how more reactive elements are replacing the less reactive elements. For example, in the case of copper sulfate solution, when I am taking copper sulfate solution in the beaker, I am taking copper sulfate solution in a beaker and I am placing zinc granules. So what will I observe? That this zinc is more reactive as compared to copper. Here, copper. Right? So this zinc will replace the copper from the copper sulfate solution, and what will happen? The blue color of this solution will start disappearing when the zinc is added to the copper sulfate solution, because this zinc is taking the place of copper, right? So zinc will be dissolved with the sulfate solution, it will make bond with sulfate. It will make zinc sulfate, and the copper will be collected here in the form of powder at the base, in the form of precipitate. So for knowing who is more reactive and less reactive, there is a reactivity series of metals. I will be showing you that. After that, you can determine who is more reactive and who is less reactive. And the last topic which is in our books is uses of metals. So uses of metals and uses of non-metals. So there are some points that metals are stronger, so they are mostly used for making automobiles. Aluminium is used for making aeroplanes, right? So they are strong, as well as some of the metals are very lightweight, like aluminium is being used for making medicine strips, right? Food, silver foil that we buy from the market, that is actually made from aluminium, right? So they are being used because of their properties, like it is being converted into sheet, right? Aluminium is being converted into sheet, therefore it is being used, right? Zinc is used for galvanization, as you know, to protect the iron. Mercury is used in the thermometers. Copper is used for making electric wires because they are ductile very much and they are very good conductors. Same way, the uses of non-metals are, these non-metals are mostly used like the form of carbon, charcoal, coke and coal. These are non-metals and they are used as a fuel. Iodine is used in solution which is used for curing our bonds, that is known as tincture iodine solution, right? And nitrogen is used for making fertilizers for plants. Oxygen is being used, which is a non-metal being used by us and all other living beings for the process of respiration. Chlorine is being used for disinfecting the water, for making it suitable for drinking for the humans. So thank you class. Hope the things were understandable to you.